Network Entertainment.
This podcast may be based on true events with names, characters, and incidents that are either products of the creator's imagination or used fictitiously. Any similarity to real individuals or events is coincidental.
Shocking, sad, revealing, and deeply researched, PH Murder Stories podcast covers the true account of infamous killings and true crime stories from the Philippines.
There's no such thing as questions, just hidden answers. Stay tuned as we revisit the inconceivable crimes that exist.
Some listeners may find the following content of PH Murder Stories highly disturbing due to its graphic nature. PH Murder Stories does not condone nor promote violence of all sorts.
Viewer discretion is advised. Have you ever accidentally bumped into someone that quickly escalated into a physical confrontation? There have been various incidents in the past caused by accidental bumps in public places such as concerts, bars, malls, and other social gathering events that have been the reason for physical fights, and some have led to people killing one another. The victim in our episode for today, 28-year-old overseas Filipino worker and cruise ship photographer Gino Basas, was killed in a bar in Tomas Morato, Quezon City, after bumping into a male college student with toxic masculinity issues. Based on the CCTV footage uncovered by the authorities, it was seen that the person Gino Basas bumped into gathered his friends and waited for Basas in the parking lot to beat him up, which led to the latter's demise.
You are listening to the PH Murder Stories podcast. This is the 8th episode of Season 4.
Thank you Bingo Plus for sponsoring our episode for today.
This episode was suggested by Brian Fernandez, who reached out to us on Instagram.
Sa kuha ng CCTV video sa loob ng naturang bar, nabidyohan ang sinasabing unang pagkakataon na nasagi ni Gino ang isa sa mga suspect.
Kung pag-aaralan natin yung chronology, makikita mo from there na itong victim and suspect nagkabanggaan sa balikat. At kung papansinin mo doon, medyo mag-iisip pa kung sinadya ba or hindi nitong victim. But just the same kasi mga nakainom. So, pwedeng hindi, pwedeng oo. But the point is, after nung mangyari kasi yun, nag-react yung suspect.
Makikita rin sa CCTV footage ng kausapin ng mga suspect si John.
Kasing dalawa itong victim. Doon nag-usap sila ng konti para bang humingi ng pasensya. Makikita mo din, nag-smile pa sila. So kung isipin mo parang tapos na. But pag titingnan mo yung ibang CCTV, itong suspect si alias Pitts, bumalik doon sa kanyang grupo, kinausap, parang may nagsalita siya, and just a few seconds, nagtayuan yung mga lalaki. Lumabas.
Sa CCTV video naman, nakuha sa labas ng bar, makikita na nilapitan ng mga lalaki si Gino at kinumpronta. Makikita pa ang pag-awat ng ibang babaeng kasama nila.
Gino Basas was dedicated to his work as a photographer on an Australian cruise ship, where he received plenty of positive reviews from passengers. According to his family and friends, photography was his passion and a source of joy, as he loved capturing moments and interacting with people from different countries. In addition, Basas was also involved in music, skateboarding, and graffiti art, showcasing a diverse range of interests. Sadly, we could all agree that his life was cut too short after suffering the unfair consequences of accidentally bumping into someone at the Perfect Spot billiards bar and restaurant.
The conflict began when Gino Basas accidentally bumped into Marzan Pitiilan inside the bar, sparking a confrontation. Pitiilan, feeling provoked, gathered his friends of at least 10 individuals to confront Basas as he was leaving the bar. The situation escalated in the parking lot, where the physical altercation resulted in Basas' death and severe injuries to his companion. According to the victim's death certificate, he died from blunt traumatic injuries to the head. Investigators said the suspects may have used brass knuckles in beating him. Based on witness accounts, Piti Ilan and his crew are regulars at the Perfect Spot Billiards Bar and Restaurant. They have a reputation for being a notorious group in the area, or what the Quezon City Police District described as Siga.
So, meron tayo nakuha doon. Parang fini-feature nila kung sino yung pupunta doon. So, parang files nila.
Nakita ng mga pulis ang naka-upload na larawan ng isang grupo ng mga babae at lalaki.
Magkakasama itong isang grupong ito, 5 babae at 5 lalaki mga estudyante. Ang age sila ranging from 20, 22. So, kalimitan sa kanila mga graduating students from different universities here in Metro Manila. We know for a fact that itong grupo na ito, yung 10 na yon, involved sila sa insidente. So, ang sabi ko nga, kung walang lulutang, all of them will be charged for murder.
Days after the brutal incident, the female companions of the men who brutally beat up Gino Basas came to the police as they were afraid of getting their identities dragged and getting charged with murder. In turn, these women agreed to be witnesses in filing charges against 5 male individuals, including the prime suspect, Marzan Piti Ilan, commonly known by his nickname, Pits. In an interview with the ABS-CBN scene of the crime operatives, one of the women who witnessed the incident provided an exclusive interview.
Ginamit namin silang mga witnesses.
Personal na nakausap ng inyong ABS-CBN Soko ang isa sa mga babaeng kasama ng grupo ng mga suspect.
Nung time na yon, katabi ko si Pete sa table. Then pagtingin ko, nakita ko si Earl katabi. So maya-maya, nag-CR pala itong si Pete. Tumawag ng tropa, para labas kayo. Para may away yan.
Doon na raw biglang nagtayuan at nagsialisan ng mga ito.
After nearly 8 months since the incident, Judge Rosana Fe Romero Maglaya of the Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 88 ordered the arrest of Muhammad Tahir Piti Ilan, Jamil Benito, Mark Angelo Morata, Cyril Angelo Rada, and Earl Brian Grande. All 5 individuals, who were college students at the time, identified by witnesses and their female companions during the incident, were charged with murder. According to the resolution filed by Senior Assistant City Prosecutor Gibson Araula Jr., the overwhelming evidence presented by the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office to indict the suspects for murder is sufficient enough, as the primary suspect, Marzan Piti Ilan, gathered his 4 other male friends and plotted to beat up the victim, Gino Basas. The evidence also confirms that Piti Ilan punched Basas, while the latter turned his back on him. When Basas fell to the ground, the other 4 male companions of Piti Ilan cohesively assaulted and brutally beat up the victim. Therefore, Basas had no chance to defend himself. Unfortunately, all 5 men are still at large. We urge the authorities to continue doing their best to catch these suspects and to bring the brutal murder of Gino Basas the justice it deserves.
The perpetrators who killed Gino Basas are bullies. It is unfortunate for the victim's family that they have yet to receive the justice they deserve. The brutal case happened 7 years ago, and so far authorities and the Justice Department have only identified and filed charges to various individuals involved in the killing of the victim. This is unacceptable. Our society, especially the government, should not tolerate bullies roaming around bars beating people up. Gino Basas only bumped into one of the perpetrators that led to his brutal demise. Whether it was an accidental bump or not, there's no logical reason for the perpetrator's actions. thank you for listening to PH Murder Stories.
If you like this episode, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
You can also support our show on Patreon. Any amount you donate would benefit our team to keep doing what we love, which is to provide more true crime episodes for our listeners. Link in the description.
For further updates from our show, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at PH Murder Stories. And subscribe to our YouTube channel at PH Murder Stories.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.